everybody, and welcome back to FM2020 with me, TD1, as York City manager. We are in January, so it is transfer time, and I brought you back a little bit before this game because we've just had an email pop up a couple of days ago. Just skip past it a little bit, but we're now going to have a little read, and that is going to change the way that we are going to handle things in January-wise, I think. Because Carl McFarlane has slipped a disc, injured himself lifting weights, and the problem with that, and the thing that you could probably be reading is, we could leave it to the physio, give it to the doctor, for example, or give it to the specialist. If we leave it to the physio, there's a good chance that he's really going to fix this issue and it's going to be all good and sorted. Problem with that, that's 2 months. That's a large portion of the season. That's pretty much his season over, you could say, because he's going to come back with that 2 months. He's then going to probably take a couple of weeks to get ready for the season, and by that point, it's going to be near the end of the season and wrapped up. So, the other thing we can do is give it to doctors or specialists who may speed it up by a week or two. The problem with that is there is a small chance they may not be able to fix this from a recurring injury, and if that's the case, he's then done. He's done as a footballer, and that's game over. So what we're going to do is we're going to send it to, we're going to leave it to the physio. We're going to give him 2 months. We're going to have a little chat to Carl McFarlane about his injury. Just passionately, lad, just focus on your recovery. He is a team leader. Because of that, though, we're going to have to make some changes. You aren't happy because I haven't given you enough football. What do you want to do then? Okay. Do we put you out on loan, maybe? That's a hard place. No, can't offer you at the moment. I want to give you football because I actually do like you. So I'm going to promise you I'll give you football and then try and force you into the team a little bit more. Transfer-wise, I've had a few players on the shortlist, but I haven't particularly thought anything. Let's go through the schedule very quickly, and then we'll get to how I'm going to fix the McFarlane issue without spending any money. It's an amazing little idea I've got here. Last time out, we saw the 2 defeats in a row. Since then, it's been quite good, actually. 3-1 win over MK Dons, including 2 goals for Jake and Kington and 1 for Paul Scott, who finished the game off. They had a guy sent off as well, which was handy. We then beat Doncaster 2-0 in the second round of the Leasing Cup. North, Keithley Mooney and Jack with a goal. That was Mooney's first goal in a little while. So he needed that one, and that was important to get his duck off that back. We then drew 0-0 to Forest Green. Forest Green are one of the better sides in this division, so I was very happy with a 0-0 draw away from home. We've just beaten Blackpool 1-0 away from home. Jack with a goal just before half-time. Mark Lake did get sent off, which means he's now out for a few games because it was an awful challenge. I think he's going to get handed a 3-match ban for that one, which means there's a little hole in our midfield because we've sold some players like we discussed last episode. Adam Marich is gone. Pascal Estrada is gone. Both of them have gone for money. Fans don't like it. Board thinks it's great. Now, how are we going to fix this McFarlane hole? Very simple. We're going to recall Roper from loan. He is coming back to the club because I need him. Other thing I want to look at, which is I found a little bit interesting. I just brought up Roper and I was having a little look at him. If I can actually get the right buttons to go. There we go. We compare him to Keithley Mooney, who is our top goal scorer, He's been a star man for a long time. He's 24 years old. He's in the last year of his deal, so he's got about 6 months left on his deal. He's our highest paid player by an absolute margin. By an absolute mile, not margin. Mile. I can speak. I swear I can. Liam Roper's you could argue better in some attributes. Some of these attributes. I put it up on Twitter, just asking FM Twitter what your thoughts are. A few of the people on Twitter, what do you think about this player? And I can't say your name, but you brought up the fact that Roper has low concentration and lower determination as a factor to try and keep hold of Mooney, which I agree with. I seen a few people just like, you need to go with Mooney. I saw someone say, Zilla Blitz. Zilla Blitz was like, can you keep hold of Mooney? I would love to keep hold of Mooney. The problem is he's on 4.8k a week, and he signed that deal when we were in the Vanarama National League. I'm not expecting him as a player to now take a deal for less money. Let's do this on camera just so we can have a little look. Contract, new contract. He expects. He's expecting to drop down a fringe player. This might be handy. If he drops cash, we're in 3.4 is a drop. It is a serious drop, but it's a drop. If we can get him for under 3, I might extend him for a year, for an extra year. But the problem with that is they're forcing me to go into 2. Maybe 2.5. I'd go 2.5. That means you can't get all of your bonuses. I'm not giving you a promotion wage. You can get knotted on that one. I will give you a little bit more of a goal bonus though in this division. What are you saying to that? 3.4. You are not wanting to budge on that, are you? How patient are you? You're flexible. You're not exactly ideal. That's not flexible at all, really, is it? Because you haven't actually budged at all. I'm getting close to saying 3 or not. See, he's cancelled that. I want him under 3. I'm not paying over $3,000 for this. He's a good player. He's not a stunning player. We are going to run the risk of him just saying "fuck you, I'm leaving," and we get nothing for him. But you know, that's just one of them. Also, I've got a lot of players wanted because they're now in the last year of the deal. Sahara is wanted by who? You wanted by Boston United on loan. He's a dead player. He's not going to happen. Baines is wanted by Rotherham. It's getting to the point where we need to start doing some transfer. We need to start doing some contracts, but I can't 100% work out what I want to be doing with all these players quite yet because. All right, let's do this on camera before we get to the game. What are we thinking centre backs wise? So let's just sort this by position, so we can have a little think. Harry Pearce is now no longer a centre back, so you can exclude him from that conversation. Jason Sahara can play centre back, but he's always injured, so he's not going to play. So he's irrelevant, and Harry Pearce is relevant, leaving us to 4 centre backs. Out of the 4 centre backs, am I happy with all of them? Is any of them making like a particular mistake? Any of them really making like some crazy stats? I don't particularly see anything there. This is how you can deep dive into analytics and look at headers per 90 and other little bits like that. Suppose if you want to give Charlie Oliver another contract, will he accept less money than 1.7? Because, like, yeah, again, Charlie Oliver, solid. What's his rating been this year? Like a 6.96. That's alright, that. That, as a rating, has been good. Yet again, he's another player who peaked in the Vanarama National League. That was his level. And he's now slowly on the decline. But if we can hold him at, just shy of a 7 rating, he wants a big pay rise. That's bad news, Bears. We're not going to be improving coaching team, and we're not going to be improving tackers, but we will make you a fringe player. I'm happy to do that. Will you take less than 1.7? You're on 1.7 currently. You'll go to 1.5. Can we get... Right, let's get rid of that, because I'm not giving you a wage rise if we get promoted. That's not going to happen. And I don't particularly care about sub fees. Can we drop that to about 1-1? 1-1? He wants to go 1-6 now. 1-2? Come on. How are you? Are you patient or not? We have a friendly relationship. He isn't known for being particularly patient, though. Yeah, he's not happy. Whoa, hang on, what just happened to the loyalty bonus on that one? 1-4? Yeah, he's backed out of that. This is another thing. Like, we want to drop these wages because they're going to turn into being some fringe players for us if we buy in the right players. Bank Cabby is signed through to next year on $3,000 a week, so that is fine and dandy for us. Mark McGuinness, another one who's going out. What does the scout say about him? He's good for most Vanarama national sides. He's fairly susceptible for injury, but he is a consistent performer. He's good in the air. What's his ratings been like? 7.1s last year. He hasn't played a game this year in the league whatsoever. In the cup, he's playing just below a 7. So, yet again, another contract for him wouldn't be a dreadful one. He's already on £900 a week, so that might be a good idea. What you want to do, though, is I don't particularly want to be offering this guy a contract because you want to try and offer them all at the same time. Lewis Baines, just for instance, on a 1.6. His ratings have been just below a 7 again. He's solid. He's solidly consistent. We're happy about him. If we are going to be offering him a contract, see, they all want this little wage rise. That's not going to happen. And we're not improving attackers. They're blaming attackers. That's interesting. They're all of the game. 1-5. 1-5. That is down by a little bit, isn't it? There we go. See, I want 1-3. This is the same agent. Pretty sure these are the same agent. 1-3. 1-3, please. He wants 1-4. He really, really wants 1-4. I'm going to walk away. I'm going to walk away and have a little think, because that's the decision we've now got to make in January, is because the way that we signed our contracts, if we just do bring it up, is that we have a lot of players now ending this season. So that's, Mark Lake, Scott and Jack you can exclude from the list because they're not particularly integral players. Jacob Kington is a player we will want to be extending because he is our first team left wing back. He's only 20 years old and we expect big things from him. So he will get a new contract and a bump up. That's going to be an interesting one to sort out. Max Saunders, Jasper Leiden, see all these players, McFarlane, Mooney. We've got to have a serious think about what players we want to be keeping here and compare it to what players we are going to have next year. So, Cabby, Coyle, Sahara, all of these guys are signed beyond the end of this season. Meaning, we've got to go into that new mentality of what our core is going to be, and that's a really tricky thing to do, because you want to keep a few of these players around because they are team leaders, they are a part of the core social groups, they are very good in that sense, but you don't want to bring too many of them along, because if you do that, saying don't offer contract, should offer him a contract. So the game is giving us a little hint on that one. May run down his contract if he's not sold, so we should apparently should be trying to sell this guy. I don't want to though, because I think he's probably the best of our young right wing backs when it comes to potential. So I'd like to try and keep hold of him if I can, and just give him some football and then sign him to a longer deal. It's also telling to drop. Yes, it's literally just gave us an email to recall Liam Roper because he's playing at a team that's below his standards, which we've just done. It's also telling us that Mooney is no longer an important player. He's a fringe player, which if you go into the happiness and you look in important player, so important player is up here, so that's the second to the top. Fringe player, that's a serious jump. He's not even an impact sub anymore. He's a fringe player when it comes to the whole squad, which is the game giving you a hint to say it may be time to buy a new striker, which might be what January is all about, is trying to find a new striker and try to work that out. I don't think I have anyone particularly on the where is scouting shortlist. Do we have any strikers on here? We do have a couple. We have this guy who's at Wolverhampton, but he's got another year on his contract. He's costing a decent amount of money. They don't particularly want to sell him. He looks alright. He's got lots of pace. He can dribble well. His finishing's okay. His composure's okay. Decision making is low, but he has got high flair and high determination. I also like the fact that he's got 11 passing, good technique, and some work rate. He's not particularly the tallest at 5'11", though. Who else have you got? Brian Scott at Cardiff. His contract is ending at the end of the season, and he is surplus to requirements, which means Cardiff have admitted they're not going to be signing him beyond this season. He is a very, very good player. He's wanted by a lot of players, including Transpor, who are a Turkish side with, quite a little bit of money. He's also listed, but he's listed for 1.6 million. So we're not going to be able to splash a cash on him. But that 15 finishing and some lovely physicals, maybe a player we want to pick up. That, if you compare him, for instance, to Mooney, what kind of graphs do we get? See, that's, apart from mentally and defending, you could say he's got Mooney covered, and that would be an improvement on the striker department, and then that allows Mooney to become a little bit more of a bench player. He's played, 25 this season, scored 5, assisted 4. It's not dreadful by Mooney, but it's not quite the firepower that we need. We've got Jamie on the list as well, another solid player running his contract out at West Brom. He's wanted by Sunderland, who's in our division. He is 23, though he is a little bit older. A year younger than Mooney, but he's got some better technical stats, which could be interesting to see. And you've got George Alexander at Millwall. He's got one more year on his contract after this one. So it's like a solid player. He's got a really nice work rate. That was why I was interested in him. So If we click off that, probably bring up another striker. No, see, I've only got 4 strikers on my shortlist, so I need to be searching for more strikers. I've got lots of players, including this free agent I've been keeping an eye on because I thought he looked quite interesting, but I never gave him for a deal. Saying that, as we've lost out our marriage, if we compare you, can we compare you to Ben, for instance? Because if we can compare you to Ben and you're better than Ben, then we might have... that's a really weird player, that. He can defend well. You've got that good defending stats. You've got 14 tackling, 13 marking, good heading. Oh, that's an... He's 6 foot. He's got great physicals. That, we're going to offer him a contract, I think. Fringe player doesn't enjoy big matches. That's a negative, and he's a fairly inconsistent performer, but... as a backup option for a right wing back, he has indifferent information with us. Who does he have as clients? He's also a part of us. Does he have anyone that we've spoken to? I don't think so. No, I don't know why he has an indifferent relationship with us. Fringe player, what do you want money wise? 1.6. You want half a... We're going to give you a longer deal. So if we're going to start doing this whole 3-year plan, that's the way that we're doing our contract deals. The board also wants us to sign first-team players for more than 2 years. This is the kind of player that we want to be signing. So maybe him for 3 years. Give him a little bit of signing bonus, I suppose. Like maybe £100 in there. I don't particularly care about unsub fees, and that I would lock in. I don't want to give you more than 1.6. He's taken that. That is an improvement because we sold out our marriage for some money and just potentially replaced him for a player who is costing us absolutely nothing to bring in for one, and he's on lower wages. So that is a good signing in that sense. So yeah, that's my thoughts for transfers. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do, really. I'm also really ahead when it comes to recording, so I can't really ask you anything, because if I do that, I can't play FM for about 2 weeks, so that's a tricky one for me. So yeah, interesting times. I've got lots and lots of scouting to do, which is fun to do in this game. It's just not fun to watch, so we won't be doing that on camera. That's probably as much scouting and transfer knowledge and stuff I'll be talking about in an episode. I will say, 10th in the division, 3 games in hand over most of the clubs ahead of us. If we win our 3 games in hand, that would be 44 points. That's 6th, that's promotion, that's playoffs, that's too high. We don't want to be that high, we want to finish around 10th. 10th would be pretty perfect. Let's get to the game against Lincoln, and then we'll get the action of this game's underway. And yeah, we can see if we can get a good result against the Lincoln side, who are 19th in the table, and we are at home. So we also have a selection dilemma ahead because of the players that we have injured. So we shall see what the starting lineup looks like as well. Here we go then. Time for our team selection to try and pick our way through this. We do have... Where is Liam Roper? Is he still in the under-18s? I've left him in the under-18s. It's probably time to promote him to the first team, the senior squad, so we can get him into the match day side as well, because he will be the exact candidate we want on the bench. He's no longer going to be lefted for loan. He's now unavailable for loan because he is the main man. Now, he's probably going to have a bigger role very, very quickly. Cammy is not 100% fit, meaning I'm going to have to give Pierce a start. I promised Pierce some more football. He was getting a little bit frustrated. So, he's playing centre-half today in the centre with 9 heading. I might change that and put you on the right-hand side instead and put Oliver in the centre, who can header a little bit better than that. We cannot play Lake because he is suspended, meaning... Yeah, we're going to have to get George on the bench because George wants to start playing some football, so we're going to need to get him match fit. I need it organised and sort out. I've been playing around with this guy's role to try and find Jack the best role on this side of the pitch. I need to organise a couple of friendlies for the under-18s to get some of the first teamers fired up and ready to go again, because they're a little bit unfit. Jason Sahara is starting on the left-hand side as well. get to the match. Matt Saunders is not fully fit for this game, but he's going to have to do, because we have a little bit of an injury crisis in midfield. That's the way it goes, really. You transfer list one of your midfielders, and then you get an injury in midfield, and then you get a suspension in midfield, and then it all piles upon itself, and you find yourself a little bit short-handed. Passionately, the pundits have been on our backs. You know, they've been talking us up, so we just go and prove that we are worth it. Let's do the opposition instructions as always as well. And with that all out of the way and done, I'm going to itch my nose and get the action underway. I've been suffering with allergies this morning. Been really bad. I don't know what it is. Just sneezing all over the place. I'm not ill. I just sneeze. You know, just one of the things after having nose surgery. You find that your nose is more sensitive to stuff and you sneeze to stuff. Plastic nose. Anyway, let's talk about FM as Jason Sahara whips in the early cross of the game 3 minutes in, and Vickers holds that one comfortably. Lincoln aren't exactly the great start. I did have a look through their players because I was doing the little opposition instructions. Their left wing back is disgusting. He might be someone we actually go and look at to buy. I didn't look at his name, but he has some pretty crazy stats. I think he has like 11 finishing for a left wing back. So that's quite an interesting stat to have. Here he is, Coulson. He goes up against Davis on this right hand side. I had to think what his name was. That's a good volley by White, or Wright, but straight over the crossbar. Opening 5 minutes of play has been all of them so far. We've had one shot though. Same as them, but we're not doing the greatest of possession-wise. I think we're dropping it balanced. Try and even up the game a little bit, and we've had our final first shot on target, shall I say. Not sure who it was. Harry Pearce, really, really close to the goalkeeper. Interesting, that's not a highlight, but okie dokie game. I'll believe you that wasn't worth watching, as I am playing on extended highlights, so, you know, sure. I suppose that's the thing, as the minutes tumble. We're going to start asking for a little bit of creativity, I think, as they get the ball underway from the free kick deep in their half. Morrell to Chapman. Little ball to Roberts. That was Bogle. Back to Walker. Solid little bit of triangle football in the midfield by Lincoln. Here's Lewis on this right-hand side. Ball in towards Bogle. Finds Walker. Good block on that one. That's Roberts. Out wide to Coulson. Can get the cross in if he wants. Finds Chapman on the edge of the box. Scott slows him down and pushes him backwards and then gives away the foul. Come on, Scotty boy, you knew better than that. We're going to tell him to stay on his feet. But the problem with that is, he was. Oh, I've just missed a goal because they've called free straight for the free kick. So I'm telling him not to dive in. Is that direct or is that? Is there a header? Let's find out. Where is the highlight? Right. Oh, he's just smashed it in. It's a good effort because he's put it on target. He's put it near a corner, but the way the keeper was diving around, I feel like he could have done a little bit better. There is not a point, defence, of launching a ball straight down the pitch to Mooney's head because their centre half has 15 heading. Just stop doing it. There's Scott. Maybe we can launch something. Launch it down the channels. Use Moody's pace. That is the better way of doing it. Scott just keeps running with the ball instead. Now he finds Davis. Little ball back to Scott. Now Davis again. Good little 1-2 to get Davis away. The cross is blocked and out for a corner. We don't get to see the highlight of that. Are you actually serious? Thank you very much, game. I'm just going to pause it very quickly. Matt Saunders, and I'm going to change Scott's role to a deep line playmaker on defend. Because I can. And I feel like he's going to be a little bit more better suited to that role. I don't want him running all over the place. That's what Saunders' job is today. Just want him to ping some nice long balls that we have seen him do. See if we can pick Moody out early over the top of their defence maybe. I'm expecting them to sit quite deep. They are doing very well when it comes to the possession against us, so we're not doing the greatest of jobs at nullifying them from playing out the back. And that one goal from the free kick is the margin so far. I'm going to ask the boys to show some passion because this is a little bit lacklustre. We've injured their player, which is handy. Now we've got A.O. Smith on the pitch instead, who's left-footed only, and it's about a like-for-like replacement, really, remembering what Bogle looked like. Lincoln. What are you doing to us, boys? We've got camera shy. Jack and Mooney are having a shite game. This is what I mean about buying a striker, because holy frick. Roper might have to come off the bench here. He's been in good scoring form for Bolton. He's got 7 in 16, I think, which is not a bad return, but that is the National League. This is League One. That is a very much a higher division. So, but he is a big boy. Oh, what a swerve of that shot! He's like Roberto Carlos. He fired that one, didn't he? Holy moly! We're at half time. We're going to have a little shout. Because assertively that was shit, and I could take both of you off. You've been that poor. I'm going to bring Roper on. Go to tactics. I'm going to change Roper's role. He is not a deep line forward. We are going to make him a poacher because we just want him to be up top and be the big brute that he is. We're going to go back to positive because we would like to get the ball forward a little bit faster than we are doing. And be a little bit more expressive and dribble less, because dribbling so far is not particularly paid out for us. So we'll see if the little tweaks that we've made can help us out. Here's Pierce, hoping he's enjoying this. What the actual fuck was that? Why? I'm so confused. Why? Okay, that's stunning, guys. His morale. Good tackle, Saunders. Now he's nicked the ball. Mooney's half away. Send him. Send him. You got to pass it sooner. Here's Roper. He's played the ball for Mooney. Keeper should get there. Why is the keeper doing it? Why didn't you pick that up, Keeps? Vickers, what are you doing, son? Mooney's offside. Saunders, play the football forward. For fuck's sake. That's really frustrating. God's sake, man. I've sworn twice. I don't normally swear in these, but Jesus, man. Mooney's having a shit game. Get creative. Just get creative. Oh, Giles holds that header. Well done, son. What is it with us conceding set pieces? Last episode it was headers and volleys and other little bits like that from set plays. This time it's just a direct free kick. This is what I mean about our team. We are still very, very much inconsistent. Sahara's having a bit of a, not particularly the greatest of games. He's not exactly match fit, so I am pushing him. I will fully admit that one. Could you play centre mid, Davis? Just pause. Just pause a second. I've lost my mouse onto the other screen because I've got two screens now, so I can lose my mouse over there. Could you play centre mid? I know you can't, but theoretically, could you? Because I'd like to bring on George, but to bring on George, that means I've got to drop you. And to drop you, that means I've got to do something. I'm just 60 minutes to go. That's early, isn't it? Let's not do that. 60 minutes is too early. I want to give George some football so he's not angry at me, and then he's happy, and then he can grow and develop as a player. But he's not exactly good enough yet to turn games around. This is a situation where you just need your first team to play like a first team. Here is Baines at the moment. That's a nice little ball down the line to Roper. Good little. He's got good decision making. That's a lovely knock. And Davis has brought that down really well. Davis is through. Oh, Vickers tips it over the crossbar. That's better. Good pass by Roper, that. Really impressed by him. Chance here, Roper, to be like the first team striker. You could be a serious revelation if you come back and score some goals and play well. Pierce tries one cross, Kingdon tries another, and they're both blocked. Brilliant. It's better. Let's go attacking. Let's change some instructions as well. Let's stop passing into space. Stop passing out of the defence. And I would like to work the ball into the box, and we'll go a little bit wider as well as we try and unlock what the stats looking like. Match stats wise, they've had one clear cut, 1.5 chance. We haven't actually made any chances, to be honest. Can't blame our strikers when we haven't made much for them. And the issue is that we're playing our two best creative midfielders, so it's not like we haven't tried. I suppose all you can do is you can swap them over and just see if they can do a little bit better the other way round. And I'm then going to bring on George on the right hand side for Davis, who is a little bit more physical, I think, George. But technique wise and mentally he's nowhere near the same. But we're going to have to give something a go. As Lewis down this right hand side has a chance to cross the ball in for Lincoln. He does very early. Walker with a shot. Good block that. Keeper's on his knees. Mooney heads it to nobody. Roper, you've got to be a little bit closer there. Like, you need to be a tighter, more compact unit as a front two, really. Because then you can do a knock on. They've gone to cautious, as they're probably admitting that a 1-0 result here away from home against a side that's been in, promotion-like form of late is solid for them. So we need to try and fire these boys up. Get creative. Come on, boys. Inspired. Got a good little bit of a good reaction out of them. Saunders is the man who's the most tired, but he's going to have to stay on the pitch because we've made all our subs. Moody battling. Good battle. Good hustle. Ball into the box. Roper. Oh, it's over the crossbar. The big 6'4" man just headed the ball over the crossbar. We've had 17 shots, 8 on target, and we have made 2 half chances. Not very good midfielders and wing backs. I'm going to blame the wing backs and midfielders because we look quite poor without McFarlane, and that's a concern. I know it's only one game, but in the games that I've played off screen with Jack in that role compared to McFarlane, we do look a little bit more creative with McFarlane in the side. I'm expecting the whistle to blow at any moment. The fact that they have a corner and this game is about to end. It's Judgment Day in January. It's a chance for us to do some more damage. We do have $1 million in the bank, or a good about 900k. I think I just splurged a little bit on the scouting department so we can find some more players. I want to look at their left wing back because I think he's quite a tasty player. Is it you? No, it's not you. It is Coulson, isn't it? You look interesting, you do, because you can do things. You can dribble, you can cross, you can finish. You've got technique, you've got tackling, I'm going to add him to a shortlist. Say how much. What is he, 25? Not too bad, he's young enough, he can do some damage for us. Maybe if Link can go down by some weird opportunity, we might be able to nab him. That might be a good little signing. Sit to the dressing room, let's have a little shout at the boys and say, simply put, that wasn't good enough. Can't really say much more. Defence, I think you were unlucky, defence, because I don't think you've done particularly much wrong. You did give the goal away, which was direct from a free kick, so I can't particularly blame you. We do stay 10th, of course, because we have the games in hand. A few games going on, but nothing much. What's going to happen is we're going to come back for the final game of January, which will be the Ipswich game. And we will do a little chat about transfers and other little bit like that because I'm expecting some action also during that time. I've got 6 games. Holy moly, that's a few games, isn't it? I just realised that. We've got Accrington Stanley and the Leasing Cup Norfolk. I don't know why I've done that accent. I do apologise. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. I've been TDavid1. If you can hear my nose starting to sniffle, I do apologise. And as always, guys, hit like, hit subscribe, and peace out.